Hey everyone, you're watching We Had That, and today I'm going to talk about the 1988 Wave 7 G.I. Joe Blizzard action figure. Although I did pick up a few figures in 1989, 1988 was very close to the end of my time with G.I. Joe. I didn't get any of the vehicles or special teams like Tiger Force or Night Force that year, but I did have more than half of the regular carded Wave 7 figures, including Blizzard, the Arctic Attack Soldier. Ever since the Empire Strikes Back Star Wars figures came out, I've been a big fan of the snow guys, despite living in Atlanta, where we get very little snow. At first, it was just Snow Job, but by 1988, Hasbro had given us a nice little team of snow dudes. According to his file card, Blizzard was more than just an Arctic attack soldier, he was an Arctic warfare training instructor. He and his team spent an entire winter in Greenland trying to determine the best way to train soldiers for combat in Arctic conditions. They found that the training didn't matter as much as the original disposition of the men. Only the hardest and meanest made it through the course. It also says that Blizzard was the hardest and meanest of the bunch. As far as his outfit goes, Blizzard wore mostly what you would expect from a snow soldier, a basic white jumpsuit. But since a solid white outfit wasn't what Hasbro was producing in 1988, they gave him a black belt, black suspenders, various black pockets and knee pads, and brown boots and gloves. He also had a brown stripe down the front of his jacket for some reason, and only one molded weapon, a black knife carried in a brown sheath on his chest. He also had a red logo on his left bicep. I'm not sure, but it may have been a polar bear. By 1988, it was pretty common for Hasbro to give us a rather large amount of accessories, and Blizzard was certainly a good example of a figure who was loaded up with gear. He had a white machine gun and a white pistol, a white rubbery helmet with a blue visor painted on it, which I honestly didn't like. It looked far too big on his head, a pair of black skis, and a pair of black ice shoes, and finally, a backpack which he could turn into a small sled by attaching the skis to the bottom. The backpack had two removable handles that looked like they were inspired by motorcycle handles. I would imagine that these are two of the most difficult pieces to find when trying to put together a complete example of this figure. Fortunately for me, since I didn't play with this guy much, all of his parts were still in my box of G.I. Joe accessories when I rediscovered my figures as an adult. On the front of his backer card, behind where the figure would have attached to the package, there were instructions for assembling the sled and also for wearing the backpack, skis, and shoes. When it came to other appearances of Blizzard, there really wasn't much. Blizzard never appeared on any box art for any G.I. Joe vehicles, and for the most part that made sense. He was a snow guy, and no snow vehicles came out in 1988. However, the Arctic Blast did come out in 1989, and G.I. Joe vehicle boxes often showed action figures from the previous year on the box art. But rather than include Blizzard on the box art for the Arctic Blast, Hasbro chose to include version 2 of Stalker, who came out in 1989 and kind of looked like he was supposed to be a cold weather guy, even though the package didn't mention anything about that, and Scoop, who had absolutely nothing to do with cold weather. Well, that was your chance to be on a vehicle box, Blizzard. Sorry you missed out. However, Blizzard was featured on the box art for the 1991 G.I. Joe A Real American Hero video game for Nintendo's NES. He was also a playable character in the game. Despite his relative coolness, Blizzard wasn't in the cartoons or the comics in the 1980s or 1990s. The Sunbow cartoon was done by this point, and I never watched the second cartoon series back when it was first airing, but I know it didn't include Blizzard. I was still reading the comics, and I do remember seeing Hardball and definitely Road Pig, who were released the same year as Blizzard, a pretty good amount, but no Blizzard. Apparently, he did make a few appearances in the comics after the year 2000, but that was long after I'd stopped paying attention to what was going on in the world of G.I. Joe. It didn't feel like Hasbro or Marvel really tried to push this character at all. If I hadn't been a fan of the snow characters, I don't even know if I would have picked him up, although I would certainly have chosen Blizzard over either Hardball or Lightfoot. One last thing to mention about Blizzard, he was released in Europe as part of the Tiger Force. Wait, what? Yep, Tiger Force Blizzard. I had always imagined those guys in the jungle, so I don't know why they needed a team member with skis, but there you go. Gone was the white jumpsuit. Now, dressed in bright yellow with gray and black accents, he has an orange tiger print stripe down the front of his chest. He even had a yellow helmet and yellow guns. I'll admit, I really don't get it. Apparently, this is an expensive figure to add to your collection, and lucky for me, I don't want one. Well, that's all I can think to say about Blizzard. Did you have a Blizzard action figure when you were a kid? Was he a favorite of yours, or did he leave you cold? Tell me in the comments below. Also, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you have a chance, it would be great if you would share it on social media. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notifications bell so I can let you know when I post new videos. As always, thanks for watching.